Hello gamers around the world, I'm Sparkus. Welcome back to yet another special episode of Game Breaking News. Today we're going to take a closer look at the PlayStation 4 Media Showcase at E3 2017. And what a delight this press conference was. Not because of the games or anything that was shown there, no, it was more like how they showed it. It was a fairly short press conference, barely any longer than the Bethesda press conference, but unlike the Bethesda press conference and any others, there wasn't really much talking there. No, it was almost exclusively games. It was game after game after game, and the games that were shown, well, also mostly showed actual gameplay and not trailers that don't represent the game in no way whatsoever. But also, just like the Bethesda press conference and the ones that came before, it is also clearly visual that we are stagnating in video games at the moment. And also, just like in the other press conferences, although we are stagnating, I cannot keep myself from looking forward to play those games that are shown. And to some extent, I hate myself for it. So, let's have a look at what Sony has to offer us in the coming months. So they kicked off the show with Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. And, well, what do you expect? It is an Uncharted, so the trailer was what it was. And here we get basically a full game covered up as a spin-off, and we have to pay only half price for it, so yeah, I'm up for it this summer. Followed by the first DLC for Horizon Zero Dawn called The Frozen Wilds. That will come out sometime this year and apparently will continue the story after the events of the main game, because they showed Aloy wearing the special armor that is only available very late in the game. Followed by a gameplay-only presentation for Days Gone. They even had real people hanging from the ceiling in the theater. I mean, what the fuck, Sony? Anyways, the game looked really nice. The environments are really great. Some of the gadgets, though, look kind of out of proportion, but, well, the game is still in development, so let's see how it looks in the end. Also, the QuickTime events, well, they were not good, and I hope they reduce that to a minimum at release. Seriously, I don't think there's any situation where a gamer says, "Cool, QuickTime events." Anyways, other than that, the game looks fantastic, and I thought I am already sick of the zombie games, but seeing Days Gone, well, made me want to use zombies to swarm an enemy compound. It is still interesting to see if this game is an open world game or whatnot, and if what we saw was just a story-bound mission or if you are free to do it anytime. Is a wall destructible in general? And can you use zombies to attack an enemy camp, or was this just part of the story? Anyways, I guess we will see more of that at the next E3 because we still have no release date. Thus concluded the first 12 minutes of the show. So we were off to an amazing start, but they had to ruin it when Sean Layden entered the stage to jerk off to PlayStation and to shit out some marketing bullshit out of his mouth. Nobody really cares about it, but then again, thankfully Sony is aware of that, so he didn't really talk that much and moved on for the two big surprises of the show. Monster Hunter World was the first one. So it appears that Capcom puts this series back to its roots, which is, well, the big consoles and not just handhelds. And since the game will be released already early 2018, they showed a gameplay-only presentation, which was great. I mean, it had some flaws here and there, but, well, this gave the game character, and not everything is perfect if you play a game that is normal. And Monster Hunter is returning to the big screen, and it looks just fine. Afterwards, the next surprise came along with a complete new remake of Shadow of the Colossus. Bluepoint Games are the developers behind the remake, and they were also already responsible for the Uncharted remake and a bunch of others. So they know what they're doing, and you can expect a Shadow of the Colossus that will shine with the newest graphics sometime in 2018. But, well, it tells you something if the biggest surprise of your event is a remake of a 12-year-old game. Seriously. Followed by a stupid and completely senseless CGI trailer for Marvel vs. Capcom with actual cancerous faces. I mean, look at those faces. You can throw those right in the garbage bin. They didn't even show 1 second of gameplay. And if you don't know what this game actually is, which is a fighting game, you wouldn't know what the hell is going on. What is this game? Well, thanks for nothing, Capcom. The game must truly suck if you don't want to show actual gameplay, and the game comes out already on the 18th of September. I really have no hope for that. Okay, Capcom, do you want to know how you're supposed to make a trailer? Well, take a look at Call of Duty World War II that came right after you. So the trailer here was, well, basically Call of Duty as usual. It was a bombastic trailer with a lot of explosions, a lot of action, a lot of bullets, and a lot of dead people. It seemed that most of that was shown was actual gameplay, yes, but I doubt that the game will actually look at that in the end because, well, it wasn't actual gameplay, it was still some scripted and whatever. But I can only repeat myself that the game and the trailer look really nice, and this is the first Call of Duty where I am at least kind of excited about since Modern Warfare 2. And without any further ado, I mean in the sense that there's some Sony guy entering the stage and telling us something about how great the PSVR is selling and how great it is in general. No, they didn't do that. They just moved over to a showcase of a bunch of upcoming VR games. Well done, Sony. So they started off with a presentation of Skyrim VR, which was actually kind of surprising, although since the announcement of Fallout VR and Doom VR, this step was kind of logical. It tells you something once again about the current state of gaming. If the most exciting game for VR here is an adaptation of a 6-year-old game. Damn. And this is also what I meant that, well, at the beginning I hate myself too, because Skyrim VR is the kind of game that I would start thinking about getting a VR gear for. And also Skyrim is pretty perfect for VR too, because you use your hands individually. Anyways, they also showed Star Child, which is some sort of a platformer game, but then again, it's supposed to be a VR game, but how? We didn't see anything of VR, and is it somehow enhanced by VR? I seriously, I don't know. I guess we'll see some more at some point, maybe. Followed by The Impatient. Well, we got a short teaser, and it seems to be some sort of a horror game that takes place in an insane asylum, but other than that, we don't really know much more. Followed by Final Fantasy XV Monsters of the Deep. Wow, I cannot express how discontent I was when I saw this. I mean, wow. Speaking about a game that nobody really asked for, but, well, then again, I guess this spin-off is probably going to be better than most fishing games out there, and it will come out already this September. But then again, you can also clearly see in the presentation that they had to make some graphical cutbacks compared to the original Final Fantasy XV, which, well, to be honest, looked also kind of great. Then they also showed Bravo Team, which is a VR first-person shooter of some sorts, but is it a single-player game or an online game or a co-op game? I don't know, and to be honest, if you don't want to show me, I don't care. The final VR game they showed was Moss. And I think that Moss is the kind of game that we will see more often with VR. And I don't mean that we're going to play a mouse, or something. No. We're not playing a mouse in this game. No, in Moss, we're playing a ghost of some sort that is accompanying the mouse. And we help this mouse with the ways that are in our disposal. Will it be magic or something like that? And I think this is an interesting concept. You know, instead of playing the main character, you are playing the power that makes the main character so unique. Well, what's crucial in those games is a good AI, that is a must. And Sony continued to show off single-player games. Next was the new God of War. And, well, as expected, there are big-ass bosses and monsters of different sizes to slay in different brutal ways. This time they actually showed a couple of more ways to kill those stupid little monsters, like the shield, which also transforms somehow. It's looking really cool. Also, it appears that, at least in some sections of the game, you will also control the boy. Well, this is kind of expected. I mean, this is the son of Kratos. He was in the game and he was been in these trailers almost constantly. So it was kind of implied that we're going to play him to some extent, but still. Followed by yet another single-player game, Detroit Become Human. And my god, those facial animations, absolutely stunning. But not only that, the story of androids that are just tools to the humans, starting to get their own conscience and start to revolt, that's amazing too. I mean, you as the key role and in this revolution, you can decide to take different ways to approach different situations with different outcomes. You can either try to find a peaceful way to have androids and humans live alongside together peacefully, or to let the humans pay for what they've done, whatever that is. And anyways, this was a great trailer, and once again, we still got no release date, so I know, I could bet that we will see Detroit again next year at E3. Also, Destiny 2 makes an appearance with another trailer, barely any gameplay there, but most important announcement of them all was, except that it's actually stupid, exclusive gear and weapons and maps for PlayStation 4. Because PlayStation is the best platform to enjoy Destiny 2. Oh, fuck you, Activision and Sony. Both of you. Seriously. Sean Layden appears on stage again. I don't know why. I guess he was bored backstage. He said something, I don't know, I wasn't really listening. And then he said his farewells, but not before leaving us off with the final presentation of the event, Spider-Man. And yes, at least one game that is shown does not only show gameplay, but actual gameplay. You know, with HUD. The game is scheduled to be released sometime in 2018, but honestly, I don't think that it will take, well, the whole year at least, because what we have seen was already a pretty finished game. That also seemed like a mixture of Uncharted and Arkham Asylum game series. I mean, man, it looked a lot like Arkham, but then again, that's just nothing bad, because those games were fantastic. Well, the QuickTime events were, again, alright. But I guess it would be a bit hard to make a Spider-Man game without QTEs, unless you make all those cutscenes not interactive. But other than that, the game looked mighty fine, and it's been a while since a Spider-Man game was released, so bring it on, Sony. So, that was the PlayStation press conference at E3 2017. And let's recap it a little bit. So we had a spin-off and a DLC and a complete new game at the start. Well, that's fine. But then again, it was followed by a sequel, then a remake, 2 more sequels, and a VR remake. Thankfully, well, VR, at least with that, we had 4 complete new games coming up, combined with a stupid Final Fantasy spin-off. Followed by yet another sequel, a new game, thankfully, and a comic book adaptation. So, without VR, there are only 2 new IPs that have been shown here, but we have already seen them last year. In fact, we have seen most of the games the year before, and I'm sure that at least 2 of them will also appear next year as well. Damn, Sony has a habit of announcing games way ahead, but it makes it so hard to make games, like to tell how they will come out. But I guess this little recap here shows how little actually new stuff is shown in this event. And it is also a good representation of the current state in gaming as it seems. Oh man. Alright, I guess there's still Ubisoft, although I don't really have high hopes on that. But there's also Nintendo with the Switch, and I hope they stirred up the gaming market quite a bit. Anyways, press the like button down below, subscribe for some more great videos, put your thoughts on this press conference in the comment section as well, and I will see you in my other E3 summary videos. See you there.